How did you get in there? Co-hosting.
I have a question. How do we ask a question during this session?
Don't.
Huh?
Can you answer that, Sue? Unmute yourself.
What?
I don't believe someone who's not a member of exec can ask a question.
Or make a comment? Can I just put it in the chat?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That'll work. Okay.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, we didn't get invites to this.
You didn't?
No.
So
that's why I came in from the regular link, just letting you know in case anyone else ends up in that situation.
Right. I don't know. Did you hear that, Susan?
No, I'm sorry.
Michelle said we didn't get any invites for this meeting.
Do people, I didn't either. It was supposed to be set up as a recurring invite. It's not kind of what I do, but guess I'll pay attention to it.
Yeah, you can look into it.
Another thing to do.
Yeah. Hi, Alicia.
Please say something about that at the full board meeting. I'm not saying that's the facts. I'm saying that's what I got contacted with, that 95% of the design has been approved. Why was it such a long reso at this point? Just say something at the next full board meeting, because I got contacted about that too. Okay.
Val, it appears that you're getting contacted about a lot of stuff. Let me finish, but no one said anything to me
Okay.
at all.
All right, sounds good. Like I said, say something about it, because otherwise I'll ask, because, we get contacted about stuff that's like, just say something about it. Okay, thank you.
All right, Val, thank you.
How do I get out?
Hold on a second. I got Shirley Fennessy, and I think she's our secretary for tonight. Hold on.
Let's have a good look at your cat, David.
Okay, so the issue was that she didn't get the link, which
Beautiful.
I didn't get a link invitation either.
On the website.
Yeah. I just followed the link.
Oh, you've been to this meeting?
Yes,
Well, I just used the old one from March.
That's
and here
exactly
I am.
Is this not webinar format anymore?
It never was.
Exec was webinar, I think.
No, exec was not webinar, just full board.
does anyone hear an echo?
That's what I
coming from
remember.
me? Am I okay? Are you still hearing an echo? So what's going on with my headphones? Why?
Larissa, I think neither you nor I changed the settings at all, right?
No, haven't
Yeah,
changed the
how's that?
settings.
Yeah,
Is
No,
that
so
better,
if
Linda?
I did look over, it's gonna be in my
Linda, is
report.
that
I
better?
looked over them. But if there's anything that needs to be changed, I don't change it. I reach out, I'm gonna reach out to you guys.
yeah,
I
so
think
there,
the fewer people who are touching it is better.
so I don't know why they didn't go out this month, you know, like I say, there wasn't any
Yeah, Shirley.
change.
Yeah, I didn't see any changes or any reason why it shouldn't have. So I'll put that on. I'll just review. Maybe I'll need to dig a little deeper.
Oh, you're talking about the meeting transcript?
Okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
go ahead and get
The
started.
meeting settings in the
Do you
Zoom.
still hear echo from me, Linda? I can't hear you. You're muted.
It's not as bad as it was, Alicia. I think it'll be okay.
Okay. Okay, so good evening, everyone. The time is 6:35. We're gonna call our executive committee meeting for Community Board 3 to order with a roll call vote. Shirley? Unmute yourself. Shirley, you're muted.
I know, hang on, I'm just trying to find the document because I got a little discombobulated.
Okay.
Hold on. Where's my vote sheet? Sorry.
I sent it this afternoon.
No, I have it.
Oh,
I
okay.
had them both open and then I got a little bit discombobulated without the. All right, executive committee vote sheet. Where is the list of attendees? It's at the bottom. I'm really sorry about this.
It's at the beginning and are you looking at the executive committee agenda?
I'm looking at the 2021-04 vote sheet.
Okay, so that's not what you should, that's for the full board.
Okay, hold on.
So I sent an earlier email.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I'll
it
find
had
it.
exec agenda attached. There were
Okay.
3 things.
Okay, give me a second. There wasn't final materials for exec. It was the other one. The April,
Right, the first one.
I got it. April exec draft agenda. Okay, great. I found it. Yay. Okay. All right. So Alicia Lewis Coleman.
Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on. 1 second. I just have to download it so that I can edit it. All right. Got it. Okay. So Alicia is yes. Sorry. 1 second. Okay. Larissa Sheinberg.
Yes.
Eric Diaz. Thomas Rosa. Shirley, he's in Albany, right? Yes. Shirley Fennessy, yes. David Crane.
Here.
Yes. Okay. Anisha Stephen.
Yes, we're here, whichever.
Okay. Maylee.
Here.
Okay. Jackie Wong.
Here.
Linda Jones.
Here.
Michelle Cooper Smith.
Present.
Trevor Holland.
Yes.
Paul Rangel.
Yeah, here.
Great. Perfect. Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Oh, this has been a busy, busy month. Lots going on. Susan, I'm going to encourage you to lower your volume on your computer because I'm hearing you. I'm hearing the echo coming from your side. Okay, so start off by giving my report. So I want to thank everyone that worked very hard on their complaints with the member matters situation, for a lack of better wording tonight. But it was concluded that we will enter into mediation with this matter going forward. We are still working out the complaint that the district manager has filed against the member at hand. And so we ask that everyone just please bear with us as we're still working through some of the further concerns in the complaints. Okay, so few things. The bylaws committee, I'm asking to form a bylaws committee to focus on specific areas. We're not going to revisit the whole bylaws, but just on specific things such as attendance, member matters, policy issues. And like in any committee and all other committees, we need 5 people. Anisha, you did express a desire to want to serve on that. And so Susan and Anisha are the first 2, and therefore I need 3 others. And so if you're interested, oh, Paul, your hand is up. Does that mean a yes? Okay,
That
great.
means yes, absolutely.
Okay, so then we have 3. So I need 2 more. And so you can email me further and I'll tell, oh, okay. hands are
I'm
going
not
up.
volunteering. I'm not volunteering.
Yeah,
You said Susan. Did you mean Susan Stetzer?
Susan Stetzer, she is,
She
she's,
could be a public member.
she can be a
No,
public
I
member.
was a
Okay,
non-voting
no.
member last time.
Well, that makes perfect sense, but I don't think it counts toward the 5.
Correct. I agree.
Okay, so then we will need
Oh,
4 others.
Alicia, I'll volunteer.
You're
Oh,
muted, Elisa.
Alicia.
Okay, so we have Anisha, Paul, Larissa, and Maylee. All right, that was easy. And then we'll look for 1 more. It could be a member at large that may be interested as well. Okay, so that was 1. 2, the community. So a few things have come up in all of this stuff that's been going on around, I guess at our last executive meeting, Olympia Kazi brought up the idea of us having a conversation and what that would look like. And so in all of our, meetings, we have that open meeting law, right? And so we know we have to invite the public to attend. But there is a way that we can have an open conversation amongst our members if we did a training or a retreat. And so I'd like to explore the idea of having a retreat and what that would look like. Basically, where members can express the issues and concerns and come up with some solutions on how to resolve ongoing issues. And this is something that, we need to look at possible times and dates when this could take place. Of course, the May's calendar is completely full, so that's not going to happen in May. And we're looking forward to new members coming on. And so probably somewhere in the month of June or July, and we could explore and ask full board members if they have any questions specifically that they'd like to address or issues and concerns specifically. And then we need to look for a mediator. It should be someone that is not a board member. Perhaps we can get some support from the borough president's office around that. So what do you all think about that?
Alicia, this is Larissa. Just wanted, oh, sorry. I always do that thinking I'm on the phone. I've been on too many meetings. It's almost automatic. Just wanted to suggest July rather than June, because June is when all the schools are getting out, graduations are happening, things like that. So July might be the better time to schedule this.
Okay. Okay, so we have a month, so we'll say July. And then what day in July? Because the first week in July, you have the 4th of July holiday. Many people will be, I don't know, traveling maybe. I'm not sure.
I will be on vacation.
So when you say retreat, you mean just like a kind of a day or 8 hours? Like, what
No,
does
not
that
a whole
mean?
day. I don't envision us needing a whole entire day to hash out, although
Knowing our board.
I never know.
Yeah.
But I foresee maybe about like a community board meeting, maybe about 3 hours or so at tops.
So
3 to 4.
this would be like an evening meeting where we would just.
It doesn't have to be in the evening. It could
Or-
be during the daytime if it was on the weekend, like a Sunday morning or a Sunday afternoon, early part of the afternoon, so that people don't kill their whole entire day. So, that's something that we, I want to hear from you. I don't want to do the decision making on it. I want to hear from all of you, what your thoughts are around that. Trevor, I see your face. Do you have a comment? Oh, you're on the phone. Okay.
Can I?
Jackie, go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree with Alicia. I want to, if we are going to have a retreat, I think it'll be better to start from like 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. ish. I just feel like you said, it's gonna take like 3 hours, maybe 4 hours, but at least we still have the rest of the day to do other things.
Yeah.
And also, I think if you can share with us what is your vision about the retreat, like what information gonna be given at the retreat, and what is the format? Because I feel like I think a lot of members need to know that there are some guidelines we conduct our meetings, and those guidelines need to be need to be repeated to the, I mean, maybe they are aware of it, maybe they don't, but I just feel like those information need to be shared to all members. And what is the function of community board? What can we do? What we cannot do? Those things also need to be, I guess, distributed to the members.
And I guess just a second on Jackie, sort of what are our objectives for the meeting? So that it's very clear that we have certain outcomes that we're looking for.
Susan.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry, Shirley. Susan, I saw your hand. Paul and
Yeah,
Anisha.
Just for compliance or for open meeting, this has to be about bonding and that kind of stuff. You can't be talking about like what the committees are, doing as far as like, the policies of the committee and that kind of stuff, because that would be subject to open meeting. If it's about relationships and how the board members work together, that's not open meeting. So it has to be a relationship level.
So maybe around like team building and strategizing on better ways to communicate and get along with one another, like that, right, Susan? Okay.
Yeah, it can't be anything that affects how the, committee, what topics they do or how they do the topics. It has to be, it's basically a bonding type thing. It has to focus on that. And I was just say there, I know this has come up before because I know I talked to Conflict of Interest Board about it, but there are facilitators that you can hire.
Okay, thank you. Paul, Anisha, David, go.
I just know I can't see that far into the future in terms of my schedule, like June or July or anything like that. Maybe you can send out like a survey of dates and times for everybody, and whoever ends up being the number one is the selected date and time. It's just a suggestion.
Okay.
I agree with Paul. I have no sense of what July looks like for me, so I'm happy to be flexible about it. But my main point is I really would strongly encourage the facilitator or someone who leads that day and sets the agenda and like really knows what the heck they're doing, because these kinds of meetings can get very both awkward and out of control very quickly. I've done a lot of team bonding meetings at many workplaces and other things, and there are definitely people who know how to facilitate them. So to the extent that we can get somebody who like is really going to focus the group on the goals and outcomes we're trying to get to, whatever they might be, I think that would be great. I like fully do not believe that we have the capacity on our on the community board to do that effectively.
Mhm. Thank you, Anisha. David?
Given my impression of what people may want to talk about, I don't think it's going to fit within the, relationship building, parameters. I just think it's going to become political very quickly, and it's going to be about policies and procedures and the kinds of things which we would be forbidden to talk about out of earshot of the public. So I don't know how this thing could be moderated, and I don't know that it's going to satisfy anyone.
Okay.
It needs
thank
careful
you.
thought.
Thank you, David. May?
The thing is, I mean, it's good to have this bonding thing, but I also think there's, quite frankly, there's quite a bit of conflict on the board, unfortunately. And I know when Olympia, I think it was at full board when she said it would be nice to have this other thing outside of the event, the public venue to do it. And I think she was talking about that, but so it's not that pleasant to talk about. And then I don't want to veer into the policy stuff either. So I'm just commenting that it's just a comment.
So the goal is not to have a training, because that is something totally separate, because we're going to be having new members stepping on board. And we do have to look at board training. I don't think we did board training last year at all. And so we do have to, conduct training of some sort for our new members, because I think that's why there's a lot of confusion, because people really don't know the roles and responsibilities, and they don't really understand the function of the community board. People join up to be a part of the community board because they want to be a part of the conversation and, about things that are happening around their community. But they have no clear understanding of what the actual function of the community board is. And believe me, I mean, you can go to a gazillion meetings and then you don't know the inside deal on policies and procedures, right? So, okay, Larissa?
Well, first of all, I feel that this is a great idea, just because in the age of COVID, I think the distance, the personal physical distance, has created conflicts that would not otherwise be there if we were meeting in person. If we could just hang out after a meeting, casually come up to somebody and say, hey, you mentioned something in meeting and I'm curious about it, or I'm upset about it, or I'm wondering more about it. We don't have that opportunity. As soon as the meeting closes, everybody jumps off. Whereas when it was a live meeting, we might linger, we might connect with each other, and we might bond. And that's been missing this whole year. I think if we kept it as a team building, it would be really beneficial to kind of start the healing and moving us back toward being a cohesive group.
Thank you, Larissa. Are there any further comments? Anyone else has any comments about it? Okay, so so we'll further explore that, and I'll send you an email and we'll discuss it a little more. So on Saturday, Assemblymember Epstein has asked CB3 to have a table at the Community Resource Fair that's going to take place at PS 34 on, I think it's Zoid, I think it's Zoid, or like, I would say it's 12th Street, but it's behind Avenue C and D, the school that in the schoolyard, I believe. And so a few people have volunteered. Thank you very much. Mei Lee, Andrea, and Larissa for Saturday. So I will be there firsthand at 12 o'clock to set up the table. And, you know, there are different things that we should walk with to put on the table, I believe. We should have, I have some community board flyers. I'll take some more home with me tonight when I leave here. But the flyer about the community board, we have it in 3 languages, so I'll walk with that. And also, if there's any flyers about upcoming town halls or other events that are happening. I know, Mei Lee, you have an educational event that's coming up around dyslexia. And
Well, yeah, and actually there's 2 things.
there's
That's
2 things coming up for you. Yeah.
for our committee. They're both education, and there's no flyers ready yet. And hopefully something will be ready by Friday. And
Oh, I
and if
hope
it's-
so.
I mean, if it's done Friday, I'll just take care of the copies. I mean, so Susan, you don't have to worry about it if it's that last minute.
I mean, you know, I could always run into the office, May, if you want to send it to me. I could run into the office on Saturday morning and just print out some copies instead of you spending money on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
you
If
can
if
send it-
if
you
if
can-
that's
you can-
if it's, you know, that's doable. then
Yeah, you can
that's fine.
forward the flyers to me if you get them. Okay, if there's anything else that you think we should walk with, put on the table, I encourage you all to just stop by if you can. And if not, just forward to me so that I can make sure I get copies of everything for everyone.
Hey, Alicia, do you need more help? I mean, I could ask Tati as well, since she's working on this parent resource fair. She might want to be there to help promote it.
Okay, I mean, whomever else you think would be interested in dropping in, and I mean, the more the merrier. I think it's important for all of us to show our face to our community because we're the ones that represent them. We're the face behind the face, right? So I think it's important for us to show people who we are instead of being blasted and put up on polls. Not the way I envision myself. Anyway, sorry, I'm shedding light on that stuff. Okay, so it was suggested to me out of, you know, from, I think it was Larissa that expressed this to me, the possibility of a monthly newsletter. And with the means of communication to the public and full board members. And, you know, I asked your thoughts on that as well. You know, what do you think about that? I know that it's added work for me, and it will not add more work for the office. So that's not for them. It would be totally on us. And I have a hard time getting people to answer emails. So I don't know how we're going to do a newsletter, but I think what's everyone else's thought about this? Any? No thoughts on it? Okay, Trevor?
Are we following a model? I know that some of the other community boards do a weekly newsletter, but it's not really a newsletter. Well, it is a newsletter because it tells you what's going on, but it also identifies the meeting that, or the meetings that are going on during the week. So it keeps people engaged, and you don't have to necessarily add a lot of content other than identifying the meetings. But I'm not sure. I mean, you obviously need someone to do this, so it is work.
Yep. Sure do. Jackie?
I don't have a comment whether we should do a newsletter or we should not do a newsletter. I just think that right now the community board has some other priorities that we may want to focus on first. And then, I mean, that could be a long-term goal or I mean, again, midterm goal or whatever. I think that could be a goal that could be feasible. However, right now, I think, I guess like our resources is limited in our time invested in community board. I mean, I think all the committee chair and all the committee members are already doing their best, and also the district office and Alicia yourself as well. So I wonder if we could look into that or revisit that maybe like 1 or 2 months later or 3 months later. That is probably something.
Thank you, Jackie. Larissa, it was your suggestion, so what
Yep,
do you have
I
to
just
say
put up
about
my
this?
hand.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I think putting it as a midterm goal would be good. I would like to see, this is a potential project that could really engage new members, because they would be actively reaching out to chairs, maybe attending a few extra meetings, getting to learn what goes on the meetings. It doesn't have to be a long and drawn out, like Trevor was saying. Main thing, put our committee meetings on there, put our schedule of meetings up, and just little blurbs. If something very important or noteworthy was going on, put it on. But I think this is a good thing, that when we have our new committee members, to reach out and see if we can engage them with this. This would be a great way for them to learn more about what's going on in the community board.
Okay, so we agree that we'll table this for right now. All right, and just engaging in the conversation. So I'm gonna just write that down. So we can note that in the minutes also, Shirley, that we'll wait for new members to come on board to engage them. So new members being said, we have to start planning for new members to come on board, and a new members gathering. So we have to project on, somewhere in late May, early June, to have a new members gathering. I'm asking for someone to please take this on. Who would be interested? In the past, it's been our second vice chair would be the person that would set up this, but Eric is not here tonight, and I'm not really sure what he has on his plate right now. If anyone else cared to take this on, that would be a matter of maybe setting up a Zoom, or now that we are meeting a little bit more now in parks and things like that, maybe something outdoors in the park on a Sunday afternoon, and people could come and do like a little, potluck like we did in the past, and mingle, have a couple of, mingle or whatever, so people can get to know one another. And of course, invite all of you wonderful chairs to come out and engage the new members and introduce yourself, tell them what your committee does, and why you joined the community board. So that's what we've done in the past, was to engage the new members. So we need to keep that in our mind, because it's a part of our timeline. And so that leads me right into timeline. We've got to be better at looking at the timeline and prioritizing, when things happen. For instance, attendance gets done at a certain time, and I want to make sure that we are reflecting on that, as well as keeping up with your members. If you have community board members on your committees that are struggling with attending or participating, I think, a conversation needs to be had first by you before it gets flagged by Eric, and then, then us as an executive have to have them to come out to a meeting to address their attendance. So, and if you have any public members that are not participating, don't feel that you have to keep them. There's always room for new public members, right? And that's where engagement comes along for community. So yeah. There was an a oops in the calendar and it was worked out. I'm so very grateful that Susan and the I think Anisha and Michelle, I'm not sure, Susan, you'll know better than I, the people that work to straighten out our calendar. But you guys are asked in advance to look at the calendar, right? And so often, I know we get busy and we rely a lot on the office to do these things, but this is stuff that we really need to do. And we agreed to not have 2 subcommittee meetings in each month, and we bumped heads for the month of May, and it shouldn't be. So I'm going to encourage, for you, if you know you have subcommittee meetings coming up, please let your subcommittee members know. We made an agreement that we would not have 2 subcommittee meetings in the same month. And, don't feel bullied or, pressured by anyone to go against what policy we've already created. That was created for a reason, right? Anisha, I see your hand.
I think for arts and culture, we need to sort of, or for both of the subcommittees, I think we need to sort of get onto a track as to if they are going to have to meet every other month, when we're actually going to start that. I do think that arts and culture, for their ramp up of things, we spent a lot of time working on the future of the committee. It was sort of unfair to them to make them wait more. And they have things on an agenda that needed resolutions, which is why they are meeting again. And I, will feel strongly that that is the right choice. But I do understand that in the time of Zoom, it is hard to have so many meetings because we can only have one meeting on Zoom at a time. So I just think that, like, for next month or the month after, since both subcommittees are meeting this month, we just need to have a discussion about like which one is going to go in sequence next.
Understood. Susan, I see your hand.
Yeah, I actually have that as the calendar and that issue as a topic under my report so that we could be specific about it.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, I do apologize.
My hand is up.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Linda.
Sorry. I would just say, why not just say one of these subcommittees meets in the even months and the other one meets in the odd months and the whole year is taken care of.
Makes sense. Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
So odds even. Who? So what we're gonna do? Rock, paper, scissors? I don't know. Anisha, Jackie, you two, I will hope that you two will work this through together.
You are muted, Alicia.
Okay, go ahead. Susan, what your hand?
Yeah, I would like to, when I give my report, I would like to resolve it then, if we can.
Okay, sure. That's fine. So I'll wait for Susan to give her report, and Anisha and Jackie, just wait for Susan's report. Okay, so last thing, committee goals. So we have been meeting from January till now, and there are a few people that I have not met with yet. And there are people that are expressing what to do with the goals. Please, if I've not met with you and the office has not met with you about your committee and the goals that you want to set in place for the remainder of the year, I want to sit down with you, or at least talk to me about what goals you want for your committees by May 31st. I need to know, and you know who you are if you haven't met with me individually. You know who you are, so I don't want to call anyone out. And then after we have met with everyone, we will post under the members' resources as to what the goals are for each committee, and we'll just put it in bullet points. I want to go into great detail because you already work very hard with your committees on this. That's it for my report, but I just wanted to say, I wanted to check in with everyone and see how everyone is doing, because I know this has been a rough week between the trial with George Floyd and a continued attacks on Asian Americans and more young Black boys being killed in the streets and police situations going on. I got an email from Anisha and Michelle and several other board members addressing Paul and myself, and I think that we're going to open up a conversation. Susan may bring this up in her report as well, but we will like to have some conversations around police reform and what that looks like and how we can engage further as a community board. Okay, so I hope everyone, take some time to do some self-care. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot. Thank you all so very much for your.
Alicia, you skipped the approval of the minutes. We should probably go back and do that.
Oh, that was the roll call.
It was?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Approval of the minutes and roll
Oh, I
call.
thought that was a separate issue these days. Okay.
No, I think we've been doing approval of the minutes with the roll call vote. Shirley?
We do. It was, the words weren't spoken. That's why I said here.
Oh,
but,
okay, okay.
It was, yeah.
Okay, the
We
words
could
weren't.
now
I
just
think there's
say
a
if
thing
there's
where we
no-
don't.
If there's
I think
no,
that
If
there's
if-
no actual vote required for
Okay.
minutes is
No.
the thing.
If there
It's
were
like-
no corrections to the minutes, I'd like to just hear from everyone that they approved the minutes for the month of March. Yes? Any
you want to
naysayers?
hear the disapprovals, not the approvals.
Anybody disapproves? Anyone has any?
It's not really even approval or
abstentions?
disapproval. It's that there's not a vote on the minutes, as I understand it. It is are there corrections to the minutes?
Okay, are there any
And
corrections?
if they're
to the
not, they're
minutes?
approved as distributed. Okay, great.
Okay, thank you, David, for clarification on that. Okay, Susan, you're up.
I had my
What
hand up.
about the vice chairs?
Oh, sorry. I'm skipping over the vice chairs. I apologize. Shirley, I'm just,
So I had my
Done.
hand up, but maybe this is an inappropriate time to bring it up, but I think that, you know, just, and if it's the wrong time to say it, then you can tell me, but just in light of what you just said, I think that, and this goes to the committee I'm on, which is sort of the idea of police reform, or like, what are we thinking about? And I think, the idea that's coming across many school districts in America is, how are we thinking about, you know, our school safety officers? I don't want any of them to lose their jobs. They're wonderful people, but I also wonder if we need to start thinking in terms of, how are we engaging social work into the schools? And this probably goes to our subcommittee more than anything. But it's, I think these two issues are intertwined, you know, so police reform and school safety officers, and then, you know, social work support in schools. So it's just like, I'm just bringing it up. It's not, we don't need to discuss it. I just think that it's something that we need to think about as a team, about how we're thinking about, how we're supporting our young boys of color especially, but like, you know, like all of the anti-Asian violence, like all of this, there is so much involved in this. And I think we need to really be thinking about what we're doing with mental health, what we're doing with social work, what we're doing in the schools, etc. And it's probably our subcommittee, but just wanted to mention it.
well, thank you, Shirley. I don't want to disregard what you're saying. Is very valuable and definitely something that we can further discuss at committee. May Lee, you know, probably you should engage in a conversation with May Lee around all of those topics that you just expressed to me. So thank you. Okay, we're going to go into our first vice chair's report. Anything to report,
Thank you.
Melissa?
Well, yeah.
Oh, I'm
a
sorry.
few things.
I raised my hand.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, May. I don't see
May.
your hand. I didn't see your hand. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it
Go
was,
ahead.
I did it.
Yeah, for
maybe I
some
should do this.
reason, the hand raising is just kind of,
Go ahead, May.
Okay, the hand raising's not working. Okay, no, so I think,
Yeah,
you know,
it's not
just back to
working
the
for some
police
reason.
thing. So I think it's definitely an issue in the schools, but I would say the police has a presence in, like, for example, in housing in NYCHA, you know, I don't know if it's in the parks, but it could be across several committees, and definitely has something to do with, you know, the Public Safety Transportation Committee. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, May. Yeah, for
Can
sure.
I just tell people the raise hand is under the reaction function?
Yeah, but I've been clicking it for myself also, and it's not going up, or it's.
It works for me. It works for me.
Works
That's
for you?
because
Okay.
you're a host.
I'm a host today? No,
Aren't you? Oh.
no,
I'm
not
sorry.
tonight.
I don't know why it's not. It's working for
I
me.
came in the old-fashioned way.
If you go into
I just said I'm the
participants,
host and I raised my hand. That is not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go into
Okay.
participants, there is like a raise hand, yes, no, go slower, go faster, more option. And then that's where you can raise your hand. It's not so
Shirley,
much.
only if you
Yeah.
have an old
Oh, you know
client.
why? It's not appearing on, it's appearing only in the participants. Usually it would appear on your frame, but it's not happening.
If you
That's
see it
an
on the
upgrade.
I see it on for
Okay,
you
I
right
don't-
now,
see it on the
Rochelle.
Can we
participants
not
list,
Oh,
further
you have
yeah?
this
an old client
discussion?
that
Let's
day.
move forward, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, now we're gonna have the first vice chair's report.
Thank you. Well, a lot of what I was going to say overlapped with what you said, so thank you. You abbreviated my report. I appreciate that. Save me time. First of all, I have been reviewing the settings for the Zoom, all the Zoom meetings. I will not change anything, anything that I see that it needs to be changed or fixed. I will talk to Susan about that and have the office do that. I feel that the fewer hands that touch it, the better we are. As long as we know we have one central person making any changes or adjustments to the meetings is better. And since this didn't go out, I'm now going to dive a little deeper and see why this particular one did not go out, because we did get last month's and nothing had changed. That being said, continuing on with the Zoom, we now have a Zoom facilitator for SLA. Yay! Jesse has stepped up to become the Zoom facilitator. I think that's going pretty well, Michelle. And the updates we have updated Zoom instructions for the Zoom facilitators for the meetings. That was edited and updated. I did attend a Zoom training last month that was conducted by Rosie. Now it was supposed to be on facilitating, but I think Linda was also there at the meeting. It was a very
I was only there
basic
for a
Zoom
little while because it
instruction.
was so elementary.
Oh,
I just was bored to death.
it was really, I found it was more for people to become comfortable and
Exactly.
familiar with Zoom if they hadn't had a lot of exposure, a lot of time to utilize
I would
it.
have liked
So
advanced
I spoke
training for
to, I gave some feedback
facilitators.
to.
Can only hear one of you at a time. You're overlapping. I'm sorry.
So I gave I gave some feedback to Susan, and we talked about reaching out to the borough board president about doing a more advanced training, just kind of something to help us with the finer points of running a meeting and suggestions and recommendations on how to make improvements. So we did talk about that, and I'm pursuing that as well. Let me see what else I have here. Oh, that was about it, because you did go over Harvey's meeting. I want to encourage everybody to come out, even if you have not signed up. Stop by our table and just schmooze with people who come by. The more that we can interest people in coming out to our meetings and get more people engaged, it's a wonderful thing. And that's about it. Any questions?
Paul?
Yeah, so just going back to the Zoom format,
Yes.
I'm pretty confident and sure that our exec meetings were a webinar format, and that's why we didn't get any email links this month. Usually when it's a webinar format, we get the email link that says, oh, 1 week until this meeting.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure we were. I don't know if something happened at last exec, that when we had to go in and out, that the settings changed. I think that's what happened, because we were moving from executive session to.
Wait,
to
Susan,
regular.
wait,
So
please.
it was, maybe something had happened. I don't know if we changed the format to just the regular Zoom meeting format for exec meetings, but I remember exec and full board were webinar formats. The committee meetings are the
Okay.
regular.
Okay, now I see your
I'll
hand,
review that.
Susan.
Yeah, Paul's absolutely right. That is exactly what happened. We
okay.
changed it from a webinar to a meeting because of the executive session. I do remember that. And that's exactly what happened. You're absolutely right. So all we need to do is move it back to a webinar, which none of us remembered to do. But thank you for uncovering the mystery.
And I didn't remember that it was in a webinar format, so thank you, Paul. Oh,
May, I see your hand, and then Trevor.
I thought the webinar is when there is no waiting room, and that was our problem. Because the regular meeting has a waiting room, but the webinar does not.
Okay.
Can we just go back? I mean, well, I think we can deal with that offline to fix all that.
Okay, it sounds good.
It'll be, it can be fixed easily. Yeah.
Okay, Trevor?
No, everything's been said. I mean, it was a webinar format, and I found that out when I signed on, and someone was speaking. So it was definitely a webinar format.
Okay. Thank you, Larissa. And Eric is not here tonight. I'm not really sure. He's a very busy man. But I know that he worked on the attendance. There were minor, a few people, but nothing really major. And the only other person that had a major issue no longer has not applied to renew their membership to the community board. So that being said, if you, again, have any members on your committees that are struggling with attendance, please reach out to them individually and have conversations with them. Just let them know, hey, there's some red flag around your attendance. What's going on? Is there anything we could do to help? And if there's, and if you notice that you have board members that have not been around, check in with them. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that. You know their emails and their phone numbers. So reach out to them and find out what's going on. So, because the goal is just to have more participation. We're voting on things and we need all hands on deck. Okay. And that's it. I think that's all that Eric would probably say anyway. Now, Susan, it's time.
Paul has his hand up.
Paul, your hand is up again.
Sorry, I had a lot of questions tonight.
Okay.
Just in reference to what you just said about, I have a feeling, was that the member of my committee that?
Yes.
Okay, just double checking. Thank you.
Okay.
Me? Thank you. So the first thing I wanted to mention is you've probably heard that the city is reopening offices on May 3rd. The borough president had a meeting for the 12 boards on the requirements. This is going to be phased in. And I have to do a reopening plan because I know how to do things like that, including on ventilation, water, etc. Fortunately, at least I have a template to do that, but that's just something that is going to have to be, I have to do before May 3rd. I would like to hire a tech consultant to help the office set up a system to be able to have hybrid meetings in the office. Some boards have done this, some boards have tech committees, some boards have people that are very experienced. I am not, and I struggle a lot with this. I have seen what some boards have in 7th Precinct Community Police Council, if anyone have gone there, where they have a large monitor in the office and cameras, so you could actually have a meeting there and see the people calling in on the screen, and the people on the screen can see the meeting, and then the monitor can be used for many hooked up to computers and used for presentations and many other things. I do not have a cost yet. I got a recommendation today. I will have like a ballpark cost in the middle of next week. I sent around the budget today. We have $5,000 to spend between now and the end of June, with nothing particular that we need to spend it on. So I would like to hear what the exec committee would think about this.
Larissa's hand is up.
First of all, the one question I have, since it's the offices are open, does that mean that we're going to start having our committee meetings in person and full board, et cetera?
No.
No. Okay,
Are
so
you
we're
saying
still,
that because of the reopening?
yeah,
No, the reopening is for staff.
just staff.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just for staff, and it's for New York City employees. And we're not going to even be opening the office to walk-ins right away.
okay.
Right, that was, I believe that was in his state of the city or whatever, and he said that, I don't know how many thousands of people are gonna go back to their offices, so.
So, but going back to the tech, what do people think?
Look, Shirley, your hand is up, and Maylee's hand is up. Go ahead.
So for me, it makes a ton of sense because, we need to be able to be as, accessible as possible. So, if we need screens or microphones or, whatever kind of setup, it makes a ton of sense to me that we would invest in that because, even if we start to go back to in-person meetings, I think the hybrid function has been pretty successful in the sense that we've had a lot more attendance even for our public meetings. And it would be great if we could continue to, keep it open because in spite of vaccines being available, there's, 50% of people are not getting vaccines. And there's going to be a lot of people that aren't comfortable being in person eventually when we get in person. So I feel like this is a great investment for us as a community board. Just seeing the increase in attendance at our public meetings. I think it's been great. So.
May?
Well, this is for the office only, I believe. So, we're not going to have all of our meetings in the office. I mean, we need other spaces too, right? But still, I think that, no, so I was just, responding to Shirley, thinking that, this is for all of our meetings. So this is just for the office, but I still think I agree with Shirley that it's a good investment and money worth spent. Because we do have meetings in the office and it sounds like, we're getting the consultancy, not just cost it out, but sort of figure out what all the uses are and how it could work. And I mean, after all, we do have this money that has to be spent, so.
It isn't just, I wouldn't have it just for the office. First of all, you have executive committee, but we don't go to hybrid meetings until the state allows us to do that. We're working under executive order right now for our meetings. So many people think the state will, instead of going back to the requirement for in-person meetings, they think the state will probably allow hybrid meetings. We don't know for sure. But if we do have hybrid meetings, it would still give us more flexibility. First of all, you could certainly use it for exec committee and some of the smaller meetings, but it's also possible that instead of getting a larger venue, that, some people would prefer to attend virtually. But that's not for now. That's not for now, but it gives us a lot more capabilities. So if we could just, what I need is the go ahead. And also we got to figure out, since I don't have a cost and I can't wait till the next exec meeting because it'll be getting too close to the end of the fiscal year, perhaps, we could go over the cost with the treasurer and the chair. It's possible. I have no idea the cost. It may be that we might have to go into some of our other money, but that wouldn't have to be done by the end of the fiscal year.
Trevor's hand was up and Larissa. And then Shirley.
I guess my question is, so the scope is just for the tech, or is the scope of this for the tech and any possible equipment? And are we only looking at equipment for the office, or because you don't know the price of the tech, are we also looking at tech for committees?
How would I don't understand what you mean by committees. What would I do? What could individual committees do?
Well, because if we're going to do hybrid, we're obviously going to need multiple tech equipment.
I can't have, there's no way that we could take hybrid to like to all the different committees, you know.
So let me
hybrid-
back up. Yeah, let me back up to my initial question. What's the scope of this?
Okay, so two things. I asked for two things. I asked for the cost of the consultancy, and then if that's reasonable, I would ask the consultant to give us a scope of what we would need and what it would cost, and what it would cost to install it.
Okay.
Okay, Larissa?
Yeah, so question about the tech side of it. Would this be including, I'm assuming, additional software licensing,
I
like a
have
WebEx?
I have no idea until I get the consultant.
Okay, good, because I know I'm used to, I've been using a lot of different platforms. I know that WebEx is a really secure platform. It has a lot of great functionality.
WebEx, we get free WebEx, the community boards get free WebEx from the city, and we all chose not to use it because it's not user friendly and there are so many
Really?
problems with it. So we're not, right now, I am
I'm
not
the
looking at
opposite.
that at all. We all have free Zoom from the borough president, which is costing her a lot of money to, you know, to give to us. So this is basically hardware.
Okay.
That's doing it. Shirley, do you still have a question?
Well, then I would,
No, okay, your hands are up.
I would
So-
just say additionally, like I would like to echo everyone else's sentiment that this is a great investment to increase people's attendance to our board.
Okay.
We could limit our spacing.
So I just want to emphasize right now, I mean, yeah, we could have, you know, we could do that from the office. We can't have hybrid meetings now. We'd have to wait for state permission to do that. So I haven't heard from anyone. Alicia, what do you think that means? Does that mean I should go ahead to investigate this? And for money, is that something that we could decide that I could review with you and David?
Absolutely. I mean, does anyone have anything against that? Okay, it's something that is needed for sure.
Linda's
So-
hand is up.
Larissa, your hand is still up. Linda, your hand
Linda.
is up.
Linda.
No,
You're
I
muted.
put the thumbs up.
Okay.
I have my thumb up. That's like, yes, let's go
Linda's
for it.
hand is up. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Linda.
No, she just said it's not.
Okay. Your
Okay,
hand is up on the
It's-
screen
it's a
though.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
I'm putting my hand down. Get it.
Okay, so so the minutes will reflect that I should go ahead to get costs for the consultant and the hardware and review the costs with the chair and treasurer before going further. Another thing I wanted to talk about, these are almost all operational stuff. Announcements at the full board. You know, we have our normal 2-minute announcements, which are not an issue. There are times, and there always have been in the past, when we have, I'm going to say not presentations, but announcements that are longer than 2 minutes. We have one coming up at this month, which I discussed with Alicia, which is an update from Test and Trace on COVID in CB3. Particularly because we have a spike for the first time in 10009. So she's going to talk about that. There are other little tiny presentations that would be more than 2 minutes, but less than 5. Instead of having a committee, one that came up for that I would like to have for this month, but said I would run by the exec first. It's announcement of at Forsyth Plaza from Chinatown, particularly a lot of art activities coming up this summer. And we talked about it going to Transportation Committee, but their agenda is really, really crowded. We talked about it going to Arts Committee. Arts Committee felt that the full board was more appropriate. So, you know, it seems like it might be a good idea to get more people, but for some you know, some of these presentations might require just 2 or 3 minutes more. So I wanted to know what the exec thought about that. I thought, you know, if we agree, I would go to Alicia to, you know, if there were exceptions requested, I would go to Alicia to get okay on that beforehand. Is that something that people think would be okay?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Anyone have an issue with it?
Paul
Jackie,
says
your
yes.
hand is up.
So I guess I'm just thinking like there are a lot of organizations or CBOs in the community. So would that encourage all of them, or in the future? I mean, I guess there should be some guidelines on who gets on the full board, because to be honest, to me, it sounds like this presentation is probably better done in the committee level. But I could be wrong. I mean, there's probably some like logistic restriction that they want to do it at full board. But I just not sure if that would encourage more organization going to full board for this.
So I agree with you that there would have to be criteria, because you certainly wouldn't want every organization to come and speak for 4 or 5 minutes. The plaza this is a city thing, actually. So both of the ones that are coming up for this month, the COVID is health and hospitals, and the plaza one is a city permit. It's under the City Plaza program. So it's not just a CBO coming up and doing something. I don't know if that makes any difference, or if there's other criteria you would want to see. That's why, but that is why I said that I thought the exceptions would have to be checked in some way. Anisha?
So I guess this is more of a general question, and I would love to get the other chairs' input on this. I think one of the things that came up in the last arts and culture meeting, and it actually does not come up for me in economic development as much, are organizations that come to talk about like one specific event that is happening, and not about like an initiative or like a program that they're rolling out. And I think for like in economic development, we don't really get like events. We usually get like, oh, the city is launching a program and they want input about a bigger initiative and program. And so we'll have those people speak, and that's like a longer presentation. But it seemed like this one, for the Think Chinatown AFI collaboration, it was more of an event update. And that's why I think it made sense to go like share that at full committee rather than in our subcommittee, because sharing it with the subcommittee, there's nothing to do about it. We just hear about it, and then like we don't make a resolution. We don't really disseminate information in any way. And so I realized it's a tricky balance about figuring it out, but that I just wanted to explain why this has even come up, and would be curious to know how other committees handle that.
Okay, May Lee's hand is up, Susan.
Yeah, I'm sorry. May?
Hi, so since you're asking for some suggestions, it happens often, every now and then to our committee. Sometimes when our committee is sometimes when it's, even if it's not, it's just like practically like an event, and they actually want an automatic larger audience, we would tell them to go to full board. And this was in person, because at full board, you get to meet the media, and you pass out your business cards, and this is all the schmoozing, outside in the hallway. So they generally nobody minds, and the presenter benefits from being in the auditorium. I think sometimes we have them come to committee, even if they're just presenting. It's never usually just an event, but more like at least a project. And then we also, sometimes it helps to, drum up. You have to sort of promote that meeting a little bit, maybe on the social media or something we found, and, helps to like drum up a little bit of interest in people just attending the meeting. So that, I'm not from the committee members, because they're required to attend, but there's more public attendance at the meeting. So if the arts committee or any committee is interested in, like, we haven't done a lot of committee meetings or just us, but if is increasing their public attendance, that might be a way, and then community members who may not have heard about this before, well, they heard about it at community board. So, so it can be a lot of different, I don't think there's like one hard and fast rule. It just depends upon everybody's goals and time.
Okay, so I think one of the big issues is the length of the presentation, because anyone in the world could come to the full board and speak for 2 minutes. And generally, almost any committee will allow someone to come and give an announcement for a minute or two. And but Andrea's response, I thought made perfect sense. The reason with the Forsyth Plaza, this was, as I explained to her, I think part of it was actually respect for the community board, because the community board had supported this project. And I actually thought of the Arts Committee, their first impression was that they should go to transportation. I thought of the Arts Committee because I knew there had been talk of reaching out, particularly reaching out to artists in Chinatown. So that was my thought until I understood Andrea's response. So I think the question is basically giving them a few more minutes. And are people okay with certain projects, particularly ones that are not just a single event, as Anisha mentioned, getting more time if approved beforehand? And Trevor saying yes. And no one
Jackie's
else.
hand is up,
And
Susan.
Paul's saying yes. Is your hand up from before, Paul, Jackie?
Yes, I don't know how to lower that. Let me try to lower that.
Go into the 3 dots. You see the 3 dots on the top of your photo?
Oh, somebody lowered that for me, I think. Linda, thank you.
I took care of it, but if you look in your reaction where you raised it, you'll see lower.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it sounds like no one's objecting. I will do this. So again, if Shirley will just make sure to reflect that in the minutes. As far as timeline, people have actually started asking me a few questions about the district needs statement. What I would like to suggest, if the chairs are okay, to put on the May agenda, to ask your committees to just review your sections, not to make any changes, but just to review it and note if any sections need changes or do not need changes. There was a lot of rewriting last year, and I think some of the things that were unresolved last year are still unresolved. So maybe it would be a good idea just to start by figuring out what each committee needs to do. Does that sound okay with the chairs? May saying yes. I'll put it on all the committees. If you don't want it on your committee, email and let me know. Just another thing on this the newsletter reminded me of this. And actually, Tariq had brought up an issue or a question earlier that also reminded me of this. We used to, on our social media, promote any special or important committee events at the full board. Not at the full board. After the exec, each chair would say if they wanted something promoted on the social media. And it was a great idea. It works back to what Larissa's talking about, letting people know what's going on. So if the chairs want to email me agenda items you want promoted, if you want just the agenda item from the text from the agenda item used, or if you want to write something, either way, just send it to me. And I'll send it to the social media people. So the issue I've been trying to avoid because it was so upsetting. As Alicia mentioned, we had mix up with the calendar this month. It was resolved, and I want to thank, people, because I did not resolve it myself. So I think there's a couple of issues, and people are talking about taking on new work. And I want to plead with people to please pay attention to our basic procedures. They're not sexy, they're not very interesting, but our procedures are the foundation of us being able to do the other work. And when things get chaotic, I mean, I'm not doing half of what I should be doing if I'm kind of responding to things that should be very easy and be done without thinking. We had made a decision to have the subcommittees alternate every other month. That decision was never changed. So I don't understand how the calendar changed when the decision wasn't changed. I mean, I do know how it happened, but procedurally, I don't know how it happened. So I would like the personnel, and we don't have enough days for all our meetings. SLA is now, seems to be 2 days every month. And I don't know if it's going to be forever, but at least for the next few months there are. One of the reasons we were able to manage this month, there was a Jewish holiday. September, you're going to have a bunch, those things are going to happen. Linda did not have a landmarks committee for May. So that's the only reason we even were able to fit in the way we were. So I would like to know, first of all, are we having the subcommittees every other month and alternating months? Is that, forget May, we know they're both meeting in May. Other than that, is that going to happen, or is that not going to, or is the exec changing that? Jackie, are you talking? Is that you?
That's me. I mean, nature is okay to do that every other month. I was at the Arts and Culture subcommittee meeting this month, and I understand your committee may need more time to sort things out. I don't know how we can coordinate that, but for nature, we can do it every other month. Yep.
So would it work for arts to meet this month, next month, and then the month after be NYCHA and go back to every other month?
Can you say that again?
I'm just throwing this out. I mean, it was the whole exec made the decision. So I'm just throwing out a suggestion, since you're saying it's fine, I mean, since arts is saying they need more time because they're kind of regrouping.
Right.
What if arts is already meeting in May?
Right.
So what if they also met in June, because that would be NYCHA's month not to meet.
Right.
And then after that, it would go NYCHA Arts,
Right.
NYCHA Arts.
Right. I mean, we are okay, but Anisha, what?
Anisha?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think the bigger, it's the bigger question is that arts wants to be able to do more. And that they feel limited as the subcommittee that has to meet every other month. And it, and I think proposing that they meet this month, or in May and June, and then we move to every other month could be a good compromise. I do hope that in the future, if we ever go back to in-person meetings and it's possible to have multiple meetings on the same night, that they have the opportunity to meet more frequently again, because they have a lot that they want to do, so I want to make sure they are able to get there. Okay. And then the second piece of that is in this sort of, it never really is a permanent change, but I guess we do need to make it a permanent change that arts and culture does meet before economic development.
Yes, and so I actually started looking at June already, and I have them in what used to be the economic development spot. Yeah, I understand that, and because of these changes, I want to work on the June calendar and send it out to all the chairs within the next week or so.
Okay. Thank you.
The other thing that happened, which the exec is aware now, because is that, we never voted on the bylaw change and there was no minutes taken. And so I'm just asking people, we really, it can't, it can't be the office doing everything. And it's, we're doing our part of the job. We did send out the minutes template. We sent out the, all the information. And so I'm just, again, really asking all the chairs. I think there has not been a focus on some of the procedures. And I'm just asking if you think some of the procedures need to change because they're not working for you, let me know. We'll figure that out. But, please, we got to have this stuff like certain things done without thinking. They're just the procedures, and then we could build on that. But if, I just want people to think about the basics. I just want to give a timeline because people have been asking about district needs. I looked at our timeline and I picked out the important dates for district needs and budget priorities. So in January, the preliminary budget came out, and they asked for response by February from community boards. In June, we will submit questions for our budget priority consults. I can go over that with any of the committees that need to. In July, we vote on our district needs statement, or we have it ready. Last year, we didn't vote on it till October, but we finalized it in July, and we should be planning on that. In September, we have a public hearing on budget priorities. The charter mandates that before we vote on budget priorities, that we have a public hearing. The thing that's not on our timeline, which I've started discussing with some chairs, is some committees want to have what they call a district level budget consultation, which means just the leadership of that committee meeting with the agency to go over issues that are particular to our board, as opposed to the regular budget consult, which are the 12 boards. We do it every year in parks because it just makes sense that you're going to look at the needs of every park. In the past, we've done it because of certain projects we wanted in transportation. We might even want to do that. Last year, we did it with Department of Education. So we don't have to, you don't have to tell me now if you want to do that. But I just want to throw it out there to please let me know if you want to consider doing that. And I think I've taken up way too much time. Is there any questions, David?
Yeah, originally I was going to ask about, well, I'm going to ask the restriction about not having more than one meeting at a time is a policy, very long-standing policy, I believe.
It's a Zoom. It's not a policy restriction. It's that the Zoom doesn't allow more than one meeting.
Okay, all right, got it. So then my other one was, I just want to encourage chairs to think about doing a district consultation. It's a lot more productive than the citywide one, because we set the agenda, can kind of talk about what we want, as opposed to the city one, which is the,
No, we also set the agendas for the city one. The city doesn't set it.
I know, but it's not as freewheeling, that's all. It's much better if you can sort of have a conversation with the district people. I felt it was.
Jackie? Your hand's still up. Anisha?
I just wanted to flag, because it didn't happen last year early enough with Arts and Culture Chair, that the Department of Cultural Affairs doesn't participate in budget priorities. And
I went, yeah, could we do that offline? Because I did email all back and forth with Andrea on that.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, Shirley?
Sorry, there's a number 6 on your report, which is about the election for treasurer. Is that off the books?
Oh my, I thought that was deleted. I'm sorry, that should not be on there. That was from last month. That was from last month. It's not on my copy, so I must have sent 2 copies, had 2 different copies. Sorry, very sorry.
No problem.
And looks like it's it, so I think I'm done.
Yeah, I might be interested, we might be interested in
I'm sorry, May.
the local thing. I mean, not for every agency. I mean, otherwise we'll be there forever. You know, we'll never get it done, but I'll think about it. Maybe youth or something like that. Oh,
Yeah.
I'll see.
So yeah, let me know. But one thing to think about, if you're not looking at specific to your community, it's really no point, because otherwise any other questions you have, we can have answered in the larger one. But when there's issues, either capital projects are always a reason to have a district level. And if there's issues particular to our community, and I think like with DOE, we were very concerned about CEC1 particularly last year.
Right. So how much time do we have to let you know about this, or when would we do this?
In the next month.
Okay. That's good to know. Thanks.
Okay, Shirley, is your hand from before?
Oh, yes, sorry.
Okay, Anisha, your hand's from before?
I'm gonna take it down. I'll take it down.
Susan, does that conclude your report?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Thank you. Okay, and please disregard the election of the treasurer for item number 6.
I did.
Okay, we're gonna go into committee reports. Michelle is not.
I'm here.
Michelle, you ready? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I think we considered 15 items at the end of the day. We had a lot of withdrawals, or maybe fewer than that at this point. We had 2 denials, and then 1, including the public hotel alteration, which some of you might have heard about. I believe that they're coming back next month. And then 1 application that I think Susan will probably be, I don't know, Susan, about the Brazen Fox location, what's going to happen with that. We think the deal fell through with the applicant we evaluated, so.
No, I don't think it's an issue for us at all. If they, decide not to go, I mean, that happens all the time, that we vote on stuff and they decide not to go forward or the deal falls through.
Yeah, so I think those are the only things that exciting that happened this month. Any questions? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. Parks?
We did have 3 resolutions. We managed to find some time to take a break a bit from ESCR to focus on some of the other parks and waterfront issues in our district. All of them had the full support of the committee. The first was to support access to PS 184. That's the Trust for Public Land Playground. It's in the school or the back of the school, which is not accessible. A portion of the resiliency funds were used to open that park and to build it. It's actually a very nice space, and it's a shame that it's been closed since they had the official ribbon cutting. So we were advocating for funds to open up that particular playground. We also wrote a long resolution for the Coastal Resiliency Project that's from Montgomery Street to Brooklyn Bridge. The EDC did come to us with some new design elements, and we gave some finer points about, or we gave some issues, or we gave them some feedback regarding some issues with the final design. The third was Pier 42, or access to Pier 42. So we also gave them some design changes, which included some shade, bathrooms, and access to water. Any questions? I don't know if May has her hand up for me or.
Yeah, May, your hand is up. No? Okay. No questions, I guess, Trevor. Did you do the interview with the person from the news reporter?
I did a couple of interviews, and I'm really hoping that and I don't mind doing interviews. I've just done quite a few that we're able to.
Oh, I just no. It wasn't. That's like a one survey.
Shirley.
Is your mic open?
Gotta mute your mic.
Oh, sorry. I've got a child here. Sorry.
Yes, I did, Alicia.
Okay, great, good. Okay, thank you, Trevor, for being on the spotlight. Okay, transportation, come on, Paul.
We only had one resolution that we had on the agenda, and that was the changing of the parking regulations on South Street from Pike Slip to Rucker Slip. Is that right, Trevor? I'm trying to remember that off the top of my head. Where we at? I know Trevor and DOT were working on it, and they brought it to our agenda this month, and I think we had a good resolution out of that. And there was also presentations from the Public Advocate's Office in regards to their role in the open restaurants program, as well as DOT came in to come back and update us on the Avenue C protected bike lane project. I think they just sent us the list of all the businesses they surveyed. They just sent us that this week, I think, or towards the end of last week. But that's all that we really had for transportation this month. Take any questions. Questions, comments, concerns, jokes, poems, lyrics? No? Good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, economic development.
We did not meet, so I don't have an update.
That's right, you didn't have a meeting this month. Okay, health and human services.
Yeah, so last month we had a presentation from the Asian American Federation about, the anti-Asian hate crimes. And the Federation is it's an umbrella organization, like the Hispanic Federation is the Asian counterpart of the Hispanic Federation. It's an umbrella organization of citywide umbrella of nonprofits, from many different Asian communities. So the executive director just gave this overview as to what they were seeing on the ground, some resources that they currently have, but also about the role of nonprofits, the role of city government, the state, the police department, and in the Asian community, there are many wide-ranging views about, how the role that the police plays in it. But they also talked about this project, kind of this overall comprehensive project they're developing that involves many CBOs. It's called Hope Against Hate, but it's like a multifaceted programs that deal with these issues, whether it's mental health counseling, whether it's like this, neighborhood watch stuff, or maybe, a wide range of things. And there's, they had, advocate. I mean, they do a lot of state and city advocacy, for funding. So they had advocated the state. I think they got some from the state. And I know that they will want to advocate to the city as well for funding. So the total is 30 million. It's over 2 years. So it's 15 million each year. I mean, that's just the total package. So I think they will come back to us when we do district needs and budget priority to talk about what their ask is in terms of this program, for the next fiscal year. So we that was the last meeting. We also talked about our committee goals, and I tried to have the committee to sort of think about it more, because we have a lot of areas and we have difficulties trying to think about our 1-year goals. So we got some stuff down, but we're gonna try. I want to finish it up by next month, and in the next meeting. And also, I think the presentation that Susan's going to give about district needs and budget priorities will be important, because some of those goals that they mentioned can be put into our, budget priority toolbox or little car or whatever it is that we start driving next month. So it doesn't have to be like a separate committee goal necessarily. So that might help. Okay, and then for next month, we also have a couple of events. I think Alicia alluded to them. So on May 3rd, we're co-sponsoring an event. Actually, it's being co-sponsored by the CEC2 and Community Board 2 Education Committee about, it's a resource fair about dyslexia. You know what, you have a kid with dyslexia, what are the resources for you, how you can get help. So it'll be on Zoom. It'll be on May 3rd. It is also being co-sponsored by Community Boards 1 through 8. So it's, and I just got a flyer, so I will definitely pass it around on full board, and I think we'll put it on social media and, or promote it. So the other thing that another event that we are doing is the Parent Resource Fair, which I think we talked about a lot about. It's being co-sponsored by CB3 and CEC1, and also Margaret and Carlina's office. And it's a Parent Resource Fair on Zoom on the evening of May 4th at 5:30 for parents and parents who have kids with IEPs. And we have 3 speakers, what the resources are for them. It includes, one of the speakers is also, it's going to be a recorded presentation from a student who has benefited from his IEP. So it'll be moderated by Thomas Rosa, and representing CB3, and Naomi Penna representing CEC1, and she's the chair of CEC1. So we, the flyer is being done, and we'll get it to you soon when we have it. And I'd really like to thank Shirley, Tati, and Thomas for really working on this a lot, because we had to have separate meetings, little subgroup planning meeting to plan the logistics, and they've worked really hard on it. So, and I'm really glad that Thomas is representing CB3 at this fair, because I think it'll be really great. So we'll get the flyer when we get the flyers, and we'll pass it out to all of you. I think that's the end of my report.
Thank you, May. Land use?
So land use didn't have any result for the past month. We heard a presentation from DCP about a plan to give zoning bonus to property owners near subway station to build escalators and elevators. Some members have concerns that it will create inequity where the wealthy neighborhoods gets to build more escalator and elevators than poor neighborhoods. And MTA, they think that the plan will use private funding to support the improvement of subway accessibility, and they can divert their own resources to less wealthy areas. And members also have concern about the management of the escalators and elevators that are built and owned by private owners. Some of them can be constantly out of service, and there was no accountability. And we also discussed committee goals for the year. So elected officers have been telling us, when I say elected officers, it means like Senator Schumer, Board President Gail Brewer, and a few other elected officers who came to the full board. They have been telling us that a lot of money are coming to New York State and ask us for priority how the money should be spent. But we want to know how much is allocated for housing and with what guidelines, restrictions. Without those information, we are not able to create a list of priorities. And I heard what May just said. The thing is that I think some of the money is going through New York State, and some of the money is going to be distributed by the city. And I think for land use, we generally, for the city budget consulting, we generally don't talk about like capital items, like capital budget. But I think for this one, we want to know what monies are there and how can we better spend it for this neighborhood or city in general. So I think I'm wondering if other committee also have the same problem. Maybe the office can help us get those information.
Thank you, Jackie. So as far as we are actually at the last full board, I asked Gail if she would help us with the education funding to understand the allocations. But I do think, you can do priorities. You can still say what's most important to you without knowing exactly how much is there. I think the important thing is to, you know, is to know whether you have both capital and expense money.
Okay.
But yes, if you would like, I'd be happy to, you know, I think it's a little early yet. They seem to all be floundering at this point, but I'd be happy to work with you to get somebody to come to the committee.
Thank you.
That would be good.
Okay. Landmarks.
If I has a hand.
Just a
Oh,
quick-
there's a hand. I'm sorry, Trevor.
Yeah, I want to echo what Jackie said, and I'm hearing reports of tons of money flowing in for different reasons, but some of it was for open space, and some of it was for parks and for cleaning. And I know they already started hiring people for cleaning, and I don't know if we've like said anything about this, that we need this. And I understand some of it we can't control, but it's sort of difficult because this money seems to be moving fast. Some of it does, and I don't know how we're able to opine on these things if we don't know, you know, the full scale of the funding.
I don't think that, well, there is a couple years. I mean, they have to, I think it has to be spent by 2024. I mean, there really is time. And, you know, some of it's going through the state, and the state people don't know. I know for education, it was true, at least, that it was going through the state. I don't know on the others. But yeah, well, I mean, we'll definitely get the information, but I don't think it's like this month or next month. I think probably they're looking, you know, they're looking at city money for the next fiscal year for this summer. You know, I don't know if they're using the Recovery Act money for this summer.
Well, some of it is that they're hiring the folks to clean up New York City, and that's happening this summer.
Is that recovery money?
I'm not sure of the funding. I'm just saying from you're asking if we need assistance, and I'm saying I would like some because I don't know how this money is flowing. I just hear, okay, they're sending a bunch of workers, and I'd sure like to see a lot of those workers come to our district. But if I just don't know how we say that if we don't know what's going on.
Do you have room on your agenda if I could get somebody from Parks to come to the meeting?
Yes, add it.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll add that for May.
All right, thank you.
Okay. May Lee's hand.
You know, yeah, it's like, you know, it's like some people say it's just being used to plug budget cuts that were made before, you know, and so there's, you know, a lot of unknowns. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of unknowns, and I think that we can. There was something else I was going to say. I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But I think it's helpful just to hear about what we need and the advocates, you know. And the other thing is, I just remembered there. You know, in terms of the federal government, I think there's like. This was the rescue plan. There's supposed to be like 2 more plans coming down. You know, it's part of the federal government's like reconciliation process of the budget. I think the next one, or the one that already came, is related to jobs. And then after that, there's something that's more focused on social services. I'm not sure. So there will be more, I think, that we need to learn about.
Yeah. Okay. Linda.
Okay, I would echo it's not particularly relevant to landmarks, but I'm interested in all of the committees. And I think to the extent that we can educate ourselves as to, you know, the tricks and the rules and the policies related to all of these funds, the more likely it is that we can glom onto more of it for our district. So we should have that goal. We get as much as we can for ourselves. That's just my opinion. Landmarks. So Landmarks had a presentation from the Lower East Side Preservation Initiative. They are proposing for landmarks designation 3 settlement houses. It was all quite interesting, I think. It was the Educational Alliance, the University Settlement, and the original home of the Grant Street Settlement, which is 311 East Broadway. All of these are significant, they're all excellent architecture that they really, when they were building these things, they got good architects and built interesting things. And then it's obvious there's historic and social and cultural significance to our community. So I think these three buildings stand a good chance with the Landmarks Commission, and we voted to support it.
Thank you, Linda. Any questions for Linda? No? Okay. Thank you, Linda. Okay, the subcommittees, okay, NYCHA didn't meet, so arts,
Arts did meet. It was the first meeting of Andrea as chair of the subcommittee. She did a really great job. It was quite a contentious meeting for many reasons that I'm not going to go into. But they did, set a good agenda for all the things they want to achieve in the future. And if you look at the agenda for next month, they have a number of items, including 2 resolutions. So they're moving ahead.
yeah. And the 2 presenters that came, they were really good too. It was really good to hear.
Some people don't though, and some people
Yeah.
didn't.
Well, I mean, I thought it was great,
Yeah, I thought so too.
for the most part. And I don't want to go into it either. Okay, so the Chinatown Neighborhood Planning Committee is not meeting. Any old business? Any new business? So let's have a roll call vote. Oh, no, we don't have to have a roll call vote. Oh my gosh.
Yes, we do.
Oh yeah, roll call vote.
That is an attendance.
But do we have to
Or-
vote on this bylaw change?
Oh yes,
No.
Susan, do we need to vote on that
No,
tonight?
the bylaws committee did vote on it before, even though they didn't record it in the minutes.
Right.
Did send it to the full board, so they all had their notice. It was never voted on at the full board. So it is now, if you look at your vote
Or
sheet.
Tuesday, yeah, it's on
If you look at your
Tuesdays.
vote sheet, the full board needs to vote on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Shirley, we're ready.
Vote to adjourn. If anyone wants dinner, that's later, as you know from my previous conversation with my daughter. Anyways, Alicia,
Yes.
Larissa, Shaneberg,
Yes.
Eric Diaz, Thomas Rosa, Shirley Fennessy, yes. David Crane.
Yes.
Oh, shoot. What did I just do? Sorry. Michelle Cooper-Smith,
Yes, thank you.
Anisha Stephen,
Yes.
Mei Lee,
Yes.
Jackie Wong,
Yes.
okay, Linda Jones,
Yes.
okay. Oh, Mish, why are you on here twice, Michelle? Yeah. Oh, because you're here as a
Yeah,
okay.
wait, Susan, can you have Ed
Yeah,
change
yeah.
or Ted
We
change the
gotta change
template?
it. Yeah, sorry, I'm just
What?
gonna off
The
because you're
template still has me on twice
yeah
for exec.
for this one. All right, I got.
I'm sorry, hold on, just as I was not paying attention.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh,
I'm
she's
sorry.
I'm
on
sorry.
as assistant secretary, and she's also on as SLA.
I can't understand. Can you tell me what's
I'll
wrong?
I'll tell her. Don't worry about it. I'll
Okay,
fix
thank
it.
you.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Trevor Holland,
Yes.
yes, okay. And Paul Rangel,
Yes.
okay. So your choice is either frozen pizza or masala, chana masala with rice. I'm just telling you, that's your dinner.
Frozen pizza.
I'm kidding. I'm being silly. All right, sorry guys. I have
Thank
to
you,
add
Shirley.
this whole thing because I
Bye.
have kids and I have to do my own thing. But all right.
Ah,
I think
Everyone, please do some self-care this weekend. I hope to see you at the fair. If you can come to the Community Resource Fair on Saturday, I hope to see you there and enjoy the weather, please. Thank you.
Oh, it doesn't start at 12 or 11:30.
It's well, 12 o'clock. I'm gonna be there early to set up the table. And Larissa, while you're on the computer on Zoom, everyone else can
Yes.
go. I love you all. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Larissa, you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
something about a banner somewhere. I'm in the office. Where is
Yes.
this banner?
Yeah, I kept thinking we had a banner. We had to move it when we had a training one time. It was in the room where we had the trainings against the back
room where
wall.
we had the training on the back wall? They don't have a banner. There's no
No?
community board banner.
Really? Wasn't it put away in the
Oh,
closet?
the parks flag? No, that's
Oh.
not a banner. No,
Okay, so
they
I thought
don't have a
might have
banner.
been.
Perhaps we can budget that in next year.
Yes, we have money to spend,
All
my
right.
dear.
They
Let's
don't
get
cost a lot.
banner. Oh, I have one question for you for the, I know we're still recording. For the meeting, for the resource fair on Saturday,
Uh-huh.
is it possible for me to do a different time than 3? Can I come at 2 or do we have someone at 2? Can I switch my time?
Wait, you want to switch your time?
Is it possible? I don't want to do it. If it's too late, don't worry about it.
Wait. You want to switch your time from 3 to 4? Because you put yourself down as 3 to closing. So what do you want to be? Where do you want to go?
Can I do 2 to 3 or do you need someone for closing?
Andrea was at 2 to 3, but you can do 2 to 3 if you want to. That's fine. Just you'll be with Andrea, so that's fine. I don't care.
Well, we shouldn't have overlap. We need to continuously have someone.
I said it's okay to have more than one person there. We've done it in the past. We've had 2 people in the same time slot. It's okay. It's fine.
You sure?
Yep, positive. Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab some pens and whatever.
Is there another hour that's not covered?
The one you just gave up. The 3 to 5, 3 to 4 closing. All right. Larissa, don't worry about it. You do what you can do. That's it.
Okay.
All right. I'll see you Saturday. All right.
See you.
Good night. Thanks, Linda.
You're welcome.
And I love your background, Linda. Gorgeous.
It's awesome. I love the cherry blossoms. Love it.
You're such.
I miss my cherry blossoms that used to be in my backyard. That is now the public hotel.
Oh, that stinks, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right, ladies. Good night.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.